channel where we combine history and ASMR. And today, this evening, I am going to state some facts about ancient Egypt, the history of Egypt. Obviously, this stretches out over a really lengthy period in history, but I'm not going to get too deeply into specifics. I'm just gonna state 20 facts which I thought were interesting about the entirety of the history of ancient Egypt. So yeah, if you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you liked it. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. So I prepared this list of facts here. The first fact is the Egyptians built 118 pyramids for their pharaohs. The highest pyramid was 146 meters. Now, unfortunately for American viewers, I only know the height in a metric system. Anyways, moving on. Fact number 2. In the summer, when the Nile banks flooded, 20,000 peasants went to help the 4,000 workers who were permanently working on the pyramids. Fact number 3. The pyramids were built out of chalk stone. They could weigh about from a range between 2.5 tons up until 15 tons. And they were most likely moved with the use of tree trunks, underneath them, and then they would push them and they would roll and they would replace the tree trunks underneath them. Anyways, moving on. Fact number 4. The pyramids actually used to be smooth and shiny due to a layer of polished chalk stone covering the pyramids. It's just during the lifetime of the pyramids, they became all crumbly as we know them. But I think there is one pyramid, I'm not sure which one though, that still has this shiny top. And apparently they all were like this. So all 118 pyramids had this shiny chalk layer on the outside. That must have been a beautiful sight. But moving on. Fact number 5. The biggest pyramid contained over a whopping 2.3 million stones. The building of this pyramid lasted up to 23 years. That's a pretty lengthy period of time, if you ask me. But yeah. Fact number 6. The pharaoh was seen as an embodiment of the sun god named Horus. So he was actually human and god at the same time. Fact number 7. Even if the pharaoh was old and wrinkly, artists in Egypt could not portray him as old and wrinkly. They had to portray him with a muscled body and a young body. So yeah, kind of I don't know. Never mind. I was going to say something about Instagrammers and people always posing in better ways on Instagram. So yeah, basically, the pharaohs did it first, I guess. Moving on. Fact number 8. The gift of the Nile. The gift of the Nile was a nickname given by Herodotus when he first visited the land lands of Egypt. By the way, I'm not sure how you say the names of these people that I mentioned in English. I'm just like saying them how I learn about them, like in high school and stuff like that. So I'm pronouncing it like Herodotus, but probably in English you would say like Herodotus or something. I don't know, or maybe it's just stays the same. Stays the same. I don't know. If you know, please leave it in the comments. But yeah, fact number 9. He gave this nickname the Gift of the Nile because the Nile would flood in summer, as we already discussed, and then it would leave this, in Dutch it's called slip, but I'm not sure how you say it in English, but it would leave this like layer of black dirt on it, and this layer of black dirt was extremely fertile. So Herodotus nicknamed the entire country of the Nile the Gift of the Nile because of the peasants that could farm, because of these fertile lands that formed around the Nile. Yeah, moving on. Priests used measuring tools to follow the level of the water of the Nile. This way, they could predict how good the harvest would be. And I've seen like an image of the measuring tools. It were basically just like it's the same. It's like marks on a rock, like near the Nile. So just it would mark how high it is and how fast the water is rising. So this way they could predict, or in some way predict, how good the harvest would be that year. Alright, moving on to fact number 11. The Egyptians used sound signs and symbols in their writing. Their writing obviously being the hieroglyphs. This is actually similar on how we use emojis when typing text messages. Fact number 12. The Egyptians wrote in multiple directions. The direction you were supposed to read was indicated by the way that by the gaze upon the figures, by the stance of the figures that are portrayed in the hieroglyphs. So, for example, if an eagle was pointing its beak to the right, you were supposed to read the hieroglyph to the right. And if it was like, if a certain person was pointing down or something like that, or facing down, you were supposed to read it downwards. Fact number 13. There lived up to 2 million people in the Egyptian lands between 2606 and 2186 BC. This even became 3 million people between the years of 2055 BC and 1650 BC. So, back in those days, this was a lot of people, you know, but I think now in Belgium, I think Brussels is a city of 1 million people. I'm not really sure though, but yeah, still a lot of people though. Anyways, moving on. Fact number 14. Dying in foreign lands was considered the worst thing that could happen to an Egyptian, because if he died in foreign lands, his body could not be mummified there, and the Egyptian believed that the body and the soul were connected. And if the body could not be mummified, the body would dissolve, and therefore he could not live on in the afterlife. He could not live like in the empire of the death. But yeah, moving on. Fact number 15. had a beard, obviously. There were other important gods in Egypt that had a beard. For example, the creator god Ptah, and also another sun god called Ammon. They also had beards. Obviously not beards like mine, but they had like this, like the famous, I don't know the word in English, but like this, like the pointy beards, like this. Anyways, yeah, like even the female pharaoh Hatshepsut was portrayed with a beard, but I'll get back to that later. Fact number 16. The Egyptian library in Alexandria contained 500,000 rolls of book. Scholars from all over the world came to study in the library. However, the library was not an Egyptian invention. It was founded by Greek, Macedonian, Ptolemaic people who ruled over Egypt from up until no, I mean like they ruled from 304 BC. Yeah, over Egypt. Starting from 304 BC. Fact number 17. There were a total of 31 dynasties of pharaohs ruling in Egypt. A dynasty is basically like one pharaoh and his entire like succession. If a pharaoh did not have a male successor, the female successor, then there could be like appointed a female successor, for example his daughter. But however, the daughter would be portrayed as a male successor on all paintings, so she would have a beard and the physique of a male. And then right until the female successor had a son, the son would become pharaoh. Yeah. Fact number 18. The ethnicity of Cleopatra is unknown, or uncertain. She probably had an African mother. This is because they managed to research the bone structure of the sister of Cleopatra. So they presumably she was a mixed race queen. Fact number 19. The Egyptians loved animals. They gave their gods animal-like powers. This is why many of their gods were portrayed as half man or half human and half animal. For example, I'm not sure of the name of the gods, but they had gods like with the beak of a crocodile and the body of a man and stuff like that. And as a final fact, a rather interesting or fun one, Tutankhamun, probably one of the most famous pharaohs, was actually not that successful during his rule. The reason why he became so famous is because his tomb was really well preserved, and this gave historians and archaeologists a really good insight in the Egyptian society and the Egyptian life. But yeah, the young pharaoh named Tutankhamun died early death, so he could not really accomplish a lot. Yet he's one of the most famous pharaohs right now. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed it enough to subscribe. And then I hope to see you in the next video. Yeah.